What's up, world? I got my guy, J Hines. Some call him Joseph Hines, but I call him J Hines.
You have to have the courage to start.
I got him in the building with me today. Some people know him as a fashion designer. Some people know him as a stylist. So we're going to hear from J Hines today. So what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Man, bro. Tony,
Yes,
the
sir.
funnel builder.
Man.
If you don't know, you need to know. My man is going crazy. It's a pleasure to be here, brother.
Yeah, for sure. I guess a little bit about you. Like, what would you say you are now? Like, if we had a title to what you are.
Man,
because before he even says it, I saw this guy and I was like, man, that guy's sharp. He be clean, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, are you a stylist? So what are you?
Man, so, you know, it's funny. There's a lot of different spaces that I'm in, but I think the purest way to communicate the essence of what I do in all the various forms is I view myself as a communications expert. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is I help people better communicate who they are by what they wear.
Right.
And, you know, that's a lot of what I do on the clothing side with, you know, I have my own custom clothing company called Affluent. And then I also have another company that I started with my business partner, Hafiz, called The Standard, right? And even part of that is communication, right? Because I'm helping men better communicate, of course, who they are, better communicate their goals, the direction in life, and basically communicate the direction they want to go by the tools and resources that we're able to provide for them. So I think at the essence, right, I'm in the communication space and also the transformation space.
Dope. And what I hear that, you know, I have a branding background, and what's super important about what I hear is a lot of people say they do this, right? But you are saying styling is the vehicle that I use, but that's not what I do. You see what I'm saying?
And you know, it took me a while to get to that, and I think for me, I was able to come to that understanding really because of my background, right? Like to get a little bit into it, because growing up, right, like I thought I was going to be the next Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, you used to hoop?
Yeah, of
You was
course.
nice?
Yeah,
Okay.
bro. And like I thought I was going to the league, league me.
Yeah.
You know, and to really kind of get into it, you know, basically, you know, my junior year going to my senior year, I broke my arm twice in the same year, about 6 months apart from each other. Both times were a double fracture. And the second time, I never forget it. When I broke it, it was a double fracture, but my bone actually came out of my arm, right? So like literally my arm,
your bone.
Yeah, like my arm's doing the stanky leg. All of my teammates ran out the gym, right? Because they're so in shock when it happened. And I just remember walking to the nurse's office while I'm waiting for the ambulance by myself, holding my arm. And it was the first time in the world I had ever thought, like, man, like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
Right. And that was kind of
you had an epiphany.
Yeah. I mean, it was the first time where I could see the ball kind of stop bouncing. And, you know, I just remember starting to go to the gym and it started feeling like work. Like I was a guy where I could go to the gym and I could shoot, you know, actually try to make 1,000 shots. Like I was relentless. But when it started feeling like work to me, that's when things started changing. And that's when for a lot of athletes, they deal with this. You have to figure out like, what is your purpose or what is the next thing? Because you wrap so much of your identity in the sport. So when I really started thinking about what was my thing, I drew a lot of inspiration from guys, especially like a Michael Jordan, right? Because when you look at a Michael Jordan on the surface level, you say, man, his gift is like basketball, right? But if you place him 3,000-4,000 years ago, like he's not a basketball player. So what is his gift? So when you look at the essence of the thing, his gift is his competitive nature. Basketball just houses it.
Right.
So now when he transitions from basketball, that's when you see him, okay, he places that now in ownership, right? Because he you know, he's an owner of a team. So again, I think it's really important for anyone to always try to boil down the essence of what their gift is and what they do. And that gives them a lot more freedom now when they maneuver, because now they're not attaching it to one thing. They can understand that all these other things are vehicle to house the essence of what they actually do. So that's why I always say like communication, transformation are my things. And there's multiple vehicles now that I use to be able to deploy those gifts.
Because I remember that time we were working on funnels and I went home and I thought about what you said. You're like, bro, you're not a funnel builder. What did you say it was?
Yeah, man. So I think for you, you're a storyteller. Right?
Yeah.
Right. And what I mean is you help people better communicate their stories, their skill sets, right? Their business through these funnels, right? Because a lot of people, they need a ghostwriter.
Yeah. Hey.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They need somebody who can format the skills and these gifts that they have in them, but they don't necessarily know how to communicate them in a way that's magnetic.
Yeah.
And for you, that's where I really think you kind of hit on that point. Is like, look, let me help me tell your story. Right? Because it needs to be told.
And monetize it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's deep. That's crazy. Yeah, because like and I think everybody listening should look at that. Like, what do you do something, but that's just your vehicles. But what's the broader aspect of what you do? What are you helping? What impact are you making with your gifts? Because we can get so lost in just the vehicle, jumping in the car, starting it every day, in a sense as an analogy. But what impact is it making for you? And then that might actually make you appreciate what you do more. You see what I'm saying?
It's huge you just said that. I actually just had a workshop with my guys in the community, the standard. And one of the things I was talking about basically is helping them get on the right BS. Right. And what I mean by that is if you have the right belief and strategy, you'll know how to execute. And part of the belief side is building belief in your business or what you do. And part of that is understanding the essence. A lot of the reasons people don't perform at a high level, whether it's at their job and entrepreneurship or they feel like they have to flip around, is because they don't have a really big belief in it. And you build the belief by understanding at the core, what is it that I'm actually providing?
Right.
Because once you do that, man, you just gain a different sense of clarity about the direction that you want to go. So even for me, not like I don't sell clothes anymore, right? I sell communicate. Let me help you communicate who you really are. How do you want to show up in this space? Yeah. Right. 70% of communication is nonverbal. So how do we help you better communicate in the language that doesn't involve words? Right? Yeah. It's those type of things that now my conversation becomes completely different with a client, and even my thought process when I'm recommending them things becomes completely different.
Yeah. So since you're in this space, like, and you're, of course, like this is your business, like when someone walks in as a client, how are you seeing them? Like mainly, like let's just say they don't have the psychology, the framework, the knowledge of just like men's style for real. So when you see them, how can you break down what they need? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Even if they feel like they're good in their current state of how they are, you obviously are critiquing and analyzing how they can identify themselves and communicate themselves better.
Well, I think the biggest thing is exposure promotes growth. Most people don't know what they don't know. So my job is to help you get exposed to other avenues and solutions that you may have not have even known or needed to know. So again, when a client first comes in, my biggest thing is I always ask discovery questions. If I haven't already asked them that before the appointment, which I already will kind of have an idea, but it goes down to, okay, so, sir, I know you do this. What are you hoping to communicate in this space, right? Who's the type of clientele that's seeing you in this space? Who are the type of people that you're interacting with? Is this more of a formal or is it more of a casual environment, right? Do you fashion yourself as a gentleman who's a little bit more loud, outgoing, or are you more of a subtle guy? Right? Because now once I compile all that information, I'm able to create a style persona for that guy. So, okay, cool. You're in tech, right? You're in really casual spaces, or you generally wear sweats right now, but okay, I get it, because you're in a more casual space and you're prioritizing comfort over the aesthetic, right? But what if I told you that you could still prioritize comfort while not having to sacrifice the aesthetic? What if I told you that you could dress better and dress more formal while still maintaining casual elements that don't come across as stuffy in a casual environment? Right. Would that be something that interests you?
Right. Yeah. For me, it would. Shoot.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. So like for me, that's kind of how that line of questioning goes. And then I'm able to kind of deliver the solution. But I never like diagnosing before I understand kind of what's going on. Like imagine you go into the doctor's office and they're like, yep, you got strep. You're like, dang, you ain't tested. You haven't asked me if my voice is sore. I need you to kind of take me through that process. So again, I view it the same way with clothing is I'm not going to diagnose or give you a solution until I kind of understand a little bit more about what's going on.
Got you. And then, so you work here in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. So
what's your workspace like?
It's private, which I really, really like. So it's one of those things to where, when I was going back and forth between, kind of what I wanted to do, I realized that I didn't want to do a traditional storefront. I really wanted to create an experience that was a little bit more one of a kind and allowed for more of an intimate interaction between me and my client. And that's why I really only do appointment only. I don't do walk-ins. No, it's really a focused interaction I'm able to have with my client without any distractions.
Got you. Okay, what part of Atlanta? West Midtown?
Yeah, Midtown. Yeah,
okay,
near Atlantic Station area.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So I guess a little backstory. So you talked about in high school you played basketball and then that switch. Where'd you go to college?
Man, so I went to college at Georgia Southern University.
Okay,
the real GSU.
The real GSU. Okay. We'll see if someone's in the comment get hype.
Right.
So when you were there, were you on fashion then?
No, so I guess I should finish the transition for me, right? So again, senior year comes around. Again, I broke my arm that second time, ended up having to have surgery on it, right? And when I woke up from surgery, I realized I still don't have any feeling in my left hand. Doctor lets me know it's because you have nerve damage. So I ended up playing that senior season with one hand. Didn't want to tell my coach because you don't want to tell the coach, right, that your hand's hurt and you just broke it twice.
Yeah.
So now a lot of these looks realistically for me are looking like D2, D3, NIA. And I'd always gone to small school. So I'm like, bro, I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I go to Georgia Southern on a college visit, just kind of seeing what the campus is looking like, right? And a guy by the name of Adam Hazlip, he comes up to me and he says, hey, look, we're having a program called Pathways to Success. It's for incoming African-American males. We're only selecting 30. Would you be interested in applying? At the time, I'm like, man, I don't know. Because I wasn't a student government guy. I wasn't doing like mock trial, but I had all this extra energy and I didn't know where, to direct it. So I apply. And about a month later, I get an email basically saying I was accepted. So they brought us into campus about a week early, and then they paired us with mentors. And our mentors at the time were guys who were getting their doctoral degree, their master's degree. It was like their fourth year on campus. These are guys that were seasoned, and they all held leadership positions. So some of them were, SGA presidents. Some of them had their own student organizations. And it was the first time that I saw guys that looked like me that actually dressed up. And what really did, and this was a pivotal moment that got me into the space, is one day about 4 or 5 of them all walked into our dining commons and, it was like time stopped, right? Like the lunch lady stopped serving chicken, the girls stopped talking at the table. And I just became really fascinated about what caused that response, right? Just by what they was wearing, what caused the room to tilt towards them. And that's really what got me into menswear, man. I was freshman year, and now it's been a decade or so of me being in the space.
Got you. So you noticed that, like, just from the way they were styled, how they looked, they just drew a certain type of energy and attention, and it was like, I need that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you see people literally stopping what they're doing to look at this group that just walked in, there, you start getting curious about what caused that.
Got you. So at your starting point, what did you do? Did you just start like buying magazines, studying, like who were some people you maybe looked up to?
So I started doing the Google deep dive, right? I then, of course, I started actually buying suits. And, it's funny because at the time, a lot of my mentors were the people who were first giving me, tips and tricks, do's and don'ts. And it's funny now because they're all clients.
Yeah.
But, I started there, and then it transitioned into me actually going to a luxury menswear store. And literally there was one black guy that was working there, and I went up to him and I was like, man, would you mind mentoring me in the space? Right. So that's, you have to know how to ask. Right. So then from there, he ended up mentoring me, kind of taking me under his wing, and started basically exposing me to different materials, different magazines like the Rake. Right. Because a lot of people look at GQ, but what's another magazine besides GQ that for like real menswear heads? And at the time, the Rake was one of those magazines. He started introducing me to that. I started getting really involved in looking at collections, right? So, you look at Ralph Lauren, Purple Label, Black Label, you start looking at Isaiah, you start looking at Cucinelli, you start looking at Tom Ford, all of these higher tier brands, which, I mean, prior to that, I had no idea. So it just started exposing my taste level, right? So, freshman, sophomore, junior year, for me, I'm combing through all these magazines. I'm combing through these collections. I have my mentor kind of like letting me know little things to look for. And then, it transitioned into me actually being able to, of course, like work in the space. So now I'm in college, right? I'm working in luxury retail.
Okay.
And
what type of store? Well,
it was a menswear store.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a luxury menswear store. And what was cool is I'm taking all these, like my whole check is literally going towards clothes at this point. And I'm using college as a testing ground to understand what aesthetics work best in what environment. So like I was a kid going to class sometimes in a suit, and then I was like, okay, this looks a little too stuffy. So like, how do I figure this out? I was the guy who like at probate, I'd have an outfit. At the after party, right, at the club, I'd have an outfit. And then at the frat house party, I had another outfit.
In one night.
Oh, in one, easily.
Yeah.
Oh, easily. I was doing, outfit changes like freaking Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, it was testing because I'm able to see in certain environments what type of outfit works best and the response that I'm getting. So now I know, like, okay, if I'm going to a house party, how can I still be the flyest guy in the room, but not looking like I'm trying too hard?
Got you.
Right? To where it's still kind of like natural, to where, you know what I mean? So.
But that's good though, because the thing is, it's like you're right. I used to you do see the guy that has the suit on, and you're like, why you got a suit on here? You see what I'm saying? But it's like what you're testing at that moment is like, all right, maybe this suit's a little too much, right? So what could I put together that's super fly, but it's like right at that limit to where it's like, that's nice, but it's not too much. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't always want to look like you got on a church outfit.
Yeah, one thing that is so underrated, I think, in menswear and when it comes to dressing is you have to respect the occasion, because you can do the right thing at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Right. If you wear a tuxedo to a job interview, you look great, but like, bro, what are you doing? It's too much.
Yeah, you got the stripe on the side of the pants.
It's just like I appreciate the sentiment, but like that's not for this.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason you have uniform. If I wore a football uniform at a basketball game, they're going to look at me a little crazy.
Right.
So for me, it's about understanding the occasion, respecting the occasion, knowing, okay, in what environments, what to do it. Like a perfect example, this interview, right? This podcast, I'm not in a suit.
Right.
These are things that you start thinking about. Okay, well, what's something that I can still dress up in, but it's not too much for this particular environment, right? Because if I'm in a suit, it'd be a little like, okay, he's kind of doing it. Like, dang, bro, like,
right.
I'm in a t-shirt, like,
yeah.
So these are things that I think people have to, well, at least for me, I give thought to, and this is part of the conversation I have with my clients.
Got you. So before we even get to the part of like who you've worked with, you're in college, you worked in men's luxury stores. When did it start getting to the point like before you had clients, but you were in the environment to get clients? Like that part where it's like you're ascending, but you're not really your own man yet.
I would say...
Because I remember you worked at Suit Supply.
Yeah, exactly. I would say 2015.
Okay.
Is when it really started getting to the point to where people like, bro, can you, like, do you do, or you should, because people started recognizing the talent that I had. And especially, I mean, when you start doing a certain amount of sales, right, percentage wise for the store, and you start having clients that are coming, and if you're not there, they're just leaving.
Yeah.
Right. And even too, like, it started getting to the point to where I was doing management. So like they would basically fly me out to help open new stores and do sales training for other sales reps. And I would have people from my Instagram and other like literal states come into those stores because they saw I was there. And I'm like, dang. So like I'm in Boston and this dude like saw on Instagram in Boston, just like pulled up on me like, bro, I want to buy a suit from you. Oh, I'm in Orlando and this dude literally was like, yo, like, is J Hines here? Like, I'm like, oh, wow. Dang. So, like,
because they saw that you were in that store on
like,
Instagram.
Like I might put it on my story, like, just touched down in Orlando, help open the Orlando store.
Yeah.
And I would have clients there. And it's like, it would get to the point too, to where like I'm going to these new stores where I don't have like my regular customer base, and I would still outsell everyone there for the month.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when I'm like, oh, shoot. And, you're having clients who are wanting to, to tap in with you. And that's when I really started realizing like, man, okay, this might be something that I really can potentially do on my own. You know what I mean? Or for myself. You just start feeling that way, especially when you start getting that response.
Got you. So who are some of your most like notable clients that, that you've worked with? Just so that people can.
So the most notable, I'll start here. Number one, Arthur Blank and the Arthur Blank Foundation. That was like, bro, that was crazy. Cause even the story with like how it happened, security coming in, like it's just different, man. It also just,
and they came to your workspace.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just crazy because it just shows you, the difference in how they think. Will Packer was another one, which was...
Wait, let's go back to the Arthur Blank story. That's a big one.
Yeah,
so for people who don't know, Arthur Blank co-founded Home Depot, owns the Falcons, Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, it was big. So the way that happened is literally before he comes in, he has his like this security guard like randomly come in, and he's like clearing the space, right? And the way I got that contact too is his assistant. So, you know, basically I'm going, you know, the appointment, everything through his assistant, but he comes in and security guard clears the space and is like clear, right? Yeah. And then this all black SUV just like pulls up, you know, he comes out, and it's just interesting because, you know, initially when he had first came in, right, because I was doing some stuff for his son as well, and he has this yacht book, right, and he's reading this yacht book, and the yacht book is maybe like 25 pages, but it's like this huge book, and he's just like sits, crosses his leg, and is basically just like flipping through the book, right, and the assistant comes to me and he says, hey, look, so we need to make sure that by the time he's done with this book, we have everything wrapped up. So I'm like, oh, wow. So the time is different.
Yeah.
Right. And then again, you know, it kind of...
when they say by the time he's done with the book, he comes in for the consultation client meeting. Is he reading the book?
Yeah. So he's reading the book because like at this one, I'm just helping his son.
Oh,
I'm helping his son get some stuff. And he basically they were like, yeah, by the time he's done with this book, like we need to be finished up.
Yeah.
So like that was crazy. The Will Packer was a blessing too, and the Will Packer story is crazy because
Will Packard. Let's know who he is.
Yeah.
The best black movies out.
Yeah,
you know
Think Like a Man, Girls Trip, all that, right?
And Frat.
Yeah, absolutely, you know, absolutely. So that story is crazy for two reasons. Number one, when I had first started working at my previous employer, I had actually met him and his wife. This is like when I first started working there, and I didn't realize it. And because at the time I didn't realize, but I gave them good service. And there was a period where like I didn't work there for 6 months because I was going into my senior year, and like the last 6 months I was like, I have to lock in, because you got to think, I would leave school Thursday night, drive 4.5 hours back into Atlanta, really Marietta, and then I will
use that far.
Yeah, because well, based on where I live, right? Because I got to go a little bit past Atlanta, so I would drive there, and then I would work 10-hour days, right? Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then I would get back into GSU at like 11, almost 12 a.m. Have to do all my homework, and like that was my schedule. So the last 6 months, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And when I had left, she had basically asked, like, man, where did the guy that we worked with go? And I wasn't reminded until I actually was able to go to Will Packer's house, and his wife reminded me of it. And I'm like, oh, this is such a crazy full circle moment. And then the second thing, you know, relationship wise, shout out to Veronica. But she also, another stylist I had a great relationship with, basically kind of put me onto that place. So that was really amazing. I mean, you know, you go into this man's house and he has like the embroidered, you know, napkins with the big, you know, big P on it. I'm just like, this is different. You know, a gate opens with the Packer, you know, the little P. So, you know, that was really cool. You know, another one recently too was probably Katino Mobley. That was really cool. Went out to LA, did some stuff with him.
How did he find out about you?
Instagram, man. Instagram, yeah, it was one of the videos I had posted, and he was just like, man, like where do you get this? I really like this fit. I was like, I made it. So you know, we started communicating DM, then that transferred into, you know, us exchanging contact information, and then, you know, again me starting to communicate as well with his assistant. Rose, shout out to Rose. She's amazing. So, it's been cool, man, just developing all these different relationships, both on, of course, you have the entertainment and businessman side, but also, you have the internet entrepreneur side, which has been going. You have a lot of other C-suite guys that may not necessarily be as known, but, are definitely movers and shakers. So it's just interesting to see how clothing can connect you with so many different types of people, man.
And then just to break down like your target audience. So like I had asked you like who's the main people, right?
Yeah.
And like what did you say? You said C-suite.
Yeah, I would say first probably C-suite executives, and then that devolves into probably like lawyers, attorneys, then to kind of internet entrepreneurs.
Is that a new field that's like growing fast where you're seeing there a need for style with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because essentially, you have a lot of people that are good with the back end, right? Like the ads and understand the psychology. But now what they need to do to really, I feel like 10X is understand the psychology of image, right? Because the brain processes images 60,000 times faster than words, right? So you're utilizing the ads, but what happens now if you can have congruency between like the marketing, what you're showing, and also now how you look?
Right.
Because yes, you're converting, but now what does that conversion looks like when you up that congruency level?
Yeah.
So, that part's been really cool. And especially because, they're in the public eye a lot. You run an ad, a lot of people are seeing you. You want to make sure that you're on point.
Because they're not even like, okay, I'm thinking, I was looking at it different, but that makes so much sense because let's say, for instance, I'm an internet marketer. I help people run their ads, build their funnels. Well, they look at it like, man, let me just grab my phone. What's up, y'all? Join me this Thursday at my webinar.
Yeah.
But they're not noticing that you're showing yourself to millions of people.
Yeah. I mean, it's so much that goes behind it, man. And then even too, like for instance, like you have like your real estate people, right? So you might have a real estate agent who's selling $1 million home, but their outfit is not congruent with the home that they're selling.
Exactly. That's a big one.
So it's like little things like that where I'm able to come in and kind of give a few tweaks to now the puzzle pieces are fully fitting. Now, the thing I will say that's hard for some people is there is a disconnect sometime between the guys who have very high performance and then perception, right? So what I mean by that is the guys that perform at a very high level, they're saying to themselves like, well, bro, I already got a meal. I'm already making money. Like, who cares what I look like?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And they tend to have a disdain for the people who have the perception side. Because they're just like, bro, they look good, but they're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Then you have the guys that are on the perception side, which is looking at the guys with the performance like, man, they're just mad because they're not fresh. They don't look good. You know what I mean? They're just hating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, well, no. Guys, what if you combine? What if you combine the performance with the perception? Because when you do that, that's when you see guys like a Beyonce, like a Diddy, like a Drake, because they're combining all of these elements of talent, right? Performance and the look. Right. And that's the thing that I'm really big on, and even if you make a sports analogy, it's like, imagine if Jordan was like, look, I'm athletic. I don't need to develop my, my post game. I don't need to develop my mid range. I'm just going to kill him on the athleticism.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
good. I'm good with 20, 30 a night. Yeah. But now you become Gerald Green.
You don't get the Kobe 81 night.
Yeah, and even better, again, because with internet entrepreneurs, they might be like, well, bro, I'm already dropping 30 a night.
Yeah.
How you gonna tell me that I need to do better?
Yeah.
And again, my conversation to them is like, yeah, you're dropping 30 a night, but on how many shots?
Yeah.
Because right now you're having to take 30. What if you only had to take 15?
Right.
That's what the marriage of performance and perception now does, because now you have that congruency.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess another question to break down for just because I'm thinking about it, there's probably someone watching on here. So you're meeting with the clients and you're giving them a consultation of what they need, right?
Yeah.
But you're also like constructing the suits for them, right? Like not sewing it, but you're picking the fabrics.
Yeah.
You're sending it off to the manufacturer to make sure that it's cut and sewn the right way. What is that process like?
I mean, it's cool, man. I think that's like the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have over thousands of fabrics. So, I mean, even for the consultation, usually I will have a discovery call prior to the client even coming, and I will already have some things that are curated for them.
For time.
Yeah, for time. And then also, you don't want to cause analysis paralysis, right? Like, you show a guy too many fabrics, you're gonna be like, bro, this is confusing. So, you kind of want to manage what you're showing him, but it's cool, man. And we go really deep into it, right? Like I can go into why this fabric is good because you want a piece that can, perform well in casual and formal spaces. Cause you might want a piece that can transition from, the boardroom to the bar.
So what
right?
would a piece like that be? Would that be the fabric or would that be like the cut and style?
It's two things. It's going to be the fabric and the style, right? Because you usually have two types of fabrics. You have, what I consider dry and wet fabric, right? And people are like, dry and wet, what's that? Well, wet fabric tends to have a little bit more of a sheen to it. It's generally what you see with more formal and business suits, right? So that interpretation or communication of fabric is always going to be a little bit more formal. Right. And from a style perspective, generally with those type of suits, you'll see, flat pockets, you'll see a little bit more of a structured shoulder. I mean, there's little nuances that you'll see versus a dry fabric, right? That's going to be something that it has less of a sheen to it. It's a little bit more textured, right? Doesn't have as much sheen. These are the type of fabrics that work well as sports coat because you generally compare them with denim, which is also a dry fabric, or it just has a little bit more of a casual interpretation. So if you want to pair, let's say a sneaker or a boot, it just makes way more sense because the fabric has congruency with each other now.
Got you. So someone who's watching this, does the consultation cost, or do you have to be kind of qualified to have a consultation?
Well, the blessing for me is most of the people that come to me are already qualified.
Okay.
So like if you're having a conversation with me, especially if it's a discovery call, I mean, discovery call is like 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't take me very long to kind of get an idea of what we need. You're generally referred to me.
Gotcha.
So like, your friends probably already told you like, look, he's expensive, but he's good.
Yeah.
There's already kind of that level of respect there. And even too, if you're even coming from Instagram, I think my content kind of communicates up front.
It does.
The price point, the name of the brand is Affluent. So, there's already little markers there that let you know, okay, like the price point's probably going to already be in this range. So the exciting thing is most people come to me knowing they're going to spend a certain amount. And even the other side that's kind of cool is there's people that actually hesitate to reach out to me because they feel like, okay, I'm going to have to spend a lot.
But that's important too, because like what you're talking about is how, your style is, has its own messaging, communication, and from the content and the imagery that you're putting out, it's already qualifying the people. So you're not even having people from college like, J Hines, what up, boy? I need a quick little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's real. And it's funny too, because even the guys from college, like their conversation with me is like, hey man, look, I can't buy it yet, but bro, like when I get my money, I want to come to you. And that's good also for me. It makes me feel good because it's like, yes, okay, the messaging, the branding, the imagery, it's working. Because I want that to already be done for a guy to feel like if he doesn't feel like he can spend it, he doesn't even want to hit me up yet.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of an aspirational buy.
Got you.
Right? Because it's like, man, I can't wait to, get that piece.
Got you. So let's just, so people who are wondering, what I'm saying, like, how much does a custom suit cost on the low end, and then how much on the
high end? Okay, cool. So starting off, I start off at 1,000, and on the high end for a suit, it can go up to 5,000.
Okay, cool. So people on here watching know how to get their coins up before they hit you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's talk about the membership now. You know what I'm saying? So just break that down for me, because I've seen on your page, this group of men, high level individuals. What is that? Yeah,
so first and foremost, shout out to my business partner Hafiz, man. He's been amazing. But essentially we've created this group called The Standard. It is a private group of high performing men that we help connect, build, and succeed through basically private experiences, high level mastermind, and these experiences and seminars that we do across the country, both in person and digitally. And essentially it's been really cool because as we've created this community, I mean, we have over 400 guys to see the level of growth, both, from spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically. I mean, even from a image standpoint and how they dress, to see the testimonials that have come in has been really cool. But essentially, man, what we realize is a lot of guys, they get to this point to where they're making a lot of income, but now they don't have the time.
Yeah.
Right. So they're starting to get the six figures, and increase their earning potential. But now they look around and, you know, it's only them.
Yeah.
Right. And now they don't know where to go to find other guys that are like them or that they can relate to. And a lot of times, right, like they might go to, you know, your standard networking organization. They might go to your commerce club, but that still involves time of having to go there, right? Having to put goodwill in before you can make the ask, having to do your own personal vetting to see like, okay, does this guy relate with me? But what if there was a space where all of that was done for you?
Yeah.
Right. Where immediately when you go into the organization, there's already a space to where you can feel comfortable making asks, where people are encouraged, right, to assist you. Right. And then even again, the second type of guy, too, that I feel like tends to really relate to us is they may have friends. Right. They're earning at a high level. They may have friends, but they realize that they're the horse pulling the cart. Yeah. So they have everyone on their back. They're constantly, hey, man, why don't you do this?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you should read this.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you should. And what they realize is they've evolved and they've grown, but they really don't have a friendship circle that's been willing to grow with them. So now what happens is they end up having a weight.
Yeah.
Right. It is some ankle weights attached to them. And eventually it's cool, but after a while it can become very, very draining. And we've just created a space for those guys to where, like, you know, look, if you want to be around other guys and a community of guys who are just as tapped in with you are, right, that want to improve just as much as you do, that want to get to the next level and continuing, right, to get to the next level as much as you do, you know, come to us, come to the standard.
Yeah. And that's really important, too, because multiple things that I heard, key points, right? So if you are, you know, the person in your pond and you're becoming the big fish, right? And then you feel like you have the weights attached to you. One, now you feel like you're always helping and you're like, okay, cool, I got you, right? But then the next thing that you're probably going to start noticing is now your aspiration and inspiration starts dying because you start looking around as like, I'm just the help. No one's inspiring me that I'm around. The second thing that I heard that's really important as well is because even if you go to the Commerce Club and these outside places that say they're for this, you join, do whatever you got to do to get your membership, but now you feel like an insider. I mean, an outsider in an inside environment. So what I mean by that, now you're kind of like pledging and trying to earn the attention of people versus in your group, from what you showed me in the, you know, in the portal, is that it's like these guys are willing to meet and it's almost fraternal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's two things, right? Like we're focused on creating men who are ill in our community. And what I mean by ill is men of excellence, men who are focused on assisting and men who want to build a legacy. But the most important part, I think, is the assisting. Right? Like a lot of times, and my business partner Fiza touched on this, a lot of times in life, you see people rewarded for the points. Right, for scoring. The people who gets the MVPs, the guys dropping 30 a night. But we want to create an environment by we reward MVPs by the ones who can assist. Right, like yeah, you're a millionaire, but how many of your mans have you helped make $1 million? Right. Like yeah, you have a dope car, but like how many of your mans have you helped? Like you know what I mean? So now you have this environment of all these people who want to network, right, and share the best of their information. And it's good because, again, you have men of excellence. Now, if there weren't men of excellence and you're sharing the information, you get into the elite situation again. Like, dang, I'm the horse again. Right. But if you have a group of guys that are all industry experts in their space, and now all of them are assisting and helping each other, what do you think happens? You have exponential growth, right? You're able to condense decades into days because now you're not the only one that's doing it.
Yeah. So what are some of like the things that you guys do? Because I seen your Instagram and I see y'all, you know, on the beach, wherever y'all, it look dope. You know what I'm saying? So like, what types of things do the people get?
Oh man, so I mean, it's so much. I mean, we have the standard library. Basically, it's a 24-hour portal of all the information. We do what's called Masterclass Mondays. So guys who are industry experts in their space, anywhere from crypto to finance to real estate. I mean, we have guys who have $1 million portfolios and they teach you how to do it with the 9 to 5. We have guys again who are teaching you how to build teams. Guys who are teaching. We have one of our guys, Sam Lacrosse. He's in Forbes as a next upcoming author to look out for. He has his book Value Economics. He teaches you how to get into that space. So we have all of that in the standard library, right? And that's housed for you with our Masterclass Mondays and information. We also have what's called in-person seminars and meetups. So, the standard is a group that's all across the United States. So if you're a guy in LA, if you're a guy in New York, if you're a guy in Atlanta, we're constantly doing different meetups in those areas to where you can tap into the community in person. We do in-person workshop. We just had one in Atlanta that was really, really cool. Brought my guy Patrick, who to teach about high level and high ticket sales, right? And then of course Justin, right? He was able to teach a little bit on the e-com side as well as the digital sales side, which is really cool. So we have that. We have our experience weekends, which are a 3-day weekend just full of transformation and a celebration of life and success. So imagine a Tony Robbins event mixed with lifestyle. That's kind of like what it is. It's a lot, man. Yeah, it is a lot. And of course the image side, right? Yeah. We're really big on that. Really, really big on helping the guys get in their best shape as well. So we just have a lot of resources. Like I said, if you're a guy looking to unlock your full potential, right? Like collect all 4 infinity stones, because that's what I'm a big believer in. You can be good in your finances, but if that's all you focus on, you become Johnny Bravo. Right? Yeah. You did on upper body, but no legs. Yeah. So our thing is becoming a holistic guy. So finances, spiritual and emotional, physical, right? I think it's important for you to have a hub to be able to curate all of these things and not just one of these things.
Yeah. And when you say hub, that's a good word too, as well, because from when you were showing it to me before here, and I saw the portal and the way it was broken down, I want the guy that doesn't live in a major city to know that he still can take advantage of this. Because you may say, well, I don't live in Houston, Atlanta, Los Angeles. If I'm here, how do I connect with these other guys?
Yeah, and that's a cool concept, right? Like we have termed it a digital city. Because that's what it is. It's networking in your pocket. And what's even cooler about the digital city is we've curated in a way to where now we're creating it to where money circulates inside the city, right? Inside the community. So again, if you're a guy who, I don't know, is in Milwaukee, right? You still have the ability to tap into these resources, to these industry experts, and also find some guys that are also in your local area that you can connect with. And we still give you spaces to not only connect digitally through events, right, but also in person, right? We're having our end of the year conference that's private only for members, right? December 9th through the 11th, which is going to be amazing, right? We still do the experience weekends, which you can tap in, where we only allow for 30 guys to come, and it is application based.
So right? Even if you're in the group, it's even more selective for that.
Yeah, for the experience, it's only 30 guys, because you got to think any more than 30 guys and we really wouldn't be able to curate it at the level that we want to, right? Because you got to think, for instance, when we did in Miami, Friday night, we did a yacht party, right? We had a 120-foot yacht we rented out for all of the guys, and we did a party. Then the next day, Saturday, was a networking day. We had breakfast, and then we did a whole private seminar for them. Then after the private seminar, we had a pool social. Then after the pool social, right, and we had a really nice mansion and a Millionaire's Row. That we rented out, and then later that night, of course, we had dinner. Then we had the club, so 30 guys, and we bring it. Then the next day, we did a private branding session for all of the guys. So for a lot of people, if you follow me at Mr. J Hines or my brand Affluent X Life, you'll see that I do branding sessions for my clients. So that means telling them what to wear, giving them the lookbook, telling them how to pose, telling them where to actually stand. Like we do all of that for them, and they get that content. So, any more than 30 guys, and that kind of starts to become difficult. So we still want to curate that exclusive experience.
Is that a supply and demand thing, or is that a business growth thing? And the reason why I ask that is because, let's say once the standard gets to having 3,000-4,000 members. Yeah. Now, if you're saying only 30, does the price range, or do you now have more additional capital to make this experience bigger?
You know what? I still think we only do it at 30. However, what ends up now happening is we have more experiences in local cities, and then we have bigger experiences that, of course, are going to be segmented by price. So, for instance, 2025 standard Dubai experience, 10 grand. Yeah. Right? Because we really want to go crazy. Now, out of 3,000-4,000 people, of course, the price point is going to naturally segment some of those people out. Now, it doesn't mean we don't have other experiences. We have other experiences in different states that are more manageable for all the members, so they still can feel like they're a part. But that's really kind of what that begins to look like. And of course, we still have those community events that are happening naturally, right? And those are free in all the different states. Like we just did the workout meetup today with the guys, which was cool. And on top of that, we still have the end of their conference, which is really kind of like where it's like the Justice League assembles. You know what I mean? And we're all able to kind of get in one space.
Got you. What are some of the main things that you guys focus on just for like growth in men? Like what would be, and this is something you're going to have to, I guess, kind of think about, but like key points, like when you come in here, if you were to, let's just say it was a program, right? At the end of this program, what could you say you got out of it? You know what I'm saying?
So here's the really cool thing about us. We're really, really tapped into helping guys basically accomplish their mission. And that mission looks very different
for everybody.
Every guy. We have some guys who come in and they're like, hey, my name's John, right? I'm from Idaho. I'm looking to lose 20 pounds in the next 60 days, and I need help. Okay, John, well, let's connect to one of our industry experts in fitness. Aaron Allen he's actually going to help you how to do that and break it down from all the way to either at home or in gym workouts to your diet. And in 60 to 90 days, we're actually going to track your progress and see what that looks like in the mission tab, because we're going to need pictures and receipts.
Accountability.
So we literally connect you with an accountability partner, right? Like it's a 3-step process, right? You know, you join the org, you state your mission, immediate direct support. And it's as simple as that. And for another guy, it might be finances, right? Like, hey, man, look, my name's Tyler. You know what I mean? I'm from California, and I'm just trying to figure out how to maximize my income. I don't know if I should put it in my 401k. I don't know if I should open investment. Well, okay, how about we talk with Ryan Barker here? He actually has $1 million portfolio, and he's been able to grow it while working his 9 to 5. And he has some really good strategies step by step on how to do it.
And you guys have created this energy in the circle that makes people not be like, oh, I got to go help, but they want to help.
No, they want to. So again, what we've done is we have a point system. So for every guy who helps a man, especially accomplish his mission, you get points, right? And the points give you access to more things. So they might give you preferred access to an experience. And now when you get into experience, right, now you have preferred seating, right? It gives you potential discounts on when we do our clothing drops, right? It gives you all these little perks, right? Even like we have our elite members card that we're rolling out, right? For guys who are able to reach, right, a certain amount of points, right, in the group. So again, we want to reward the behavior we want to see. So again, like when it goes down to those 3 things we're looking to create, men of excellence, men who want to assist, right, assisting, and then men who want to build a legacy.
Got you. Dope. I'm trying to think. I think that's that's a lot. So where can they like connect with you and everything?
So you can connect with me on Instagram at Mr.JHines. You can also follow us on the Affluent standard. I have all of it linked on my main Instagram as well. And excited, man, for anybody that is looking to join. We are only selecting 100 members in this next drop, so it is going to be limited. We're probably going to open it up come Black Friday. So if it's something that you guys are interested in, if you're listening, definitely join the wait list.
Right.
And do not miss the email, because once we get to 100, it's done.
Right.
It is closed. It's not one of those, hey, no, it's closed until the next drop. And you're going to have to be on the email list and see all the experiences, right? You're going to have to see all the events until we open it up again.
Got you. And one last question that I had, I forgot to ask it. What is the onboarding process like? So once someone joins the wait list, what can they expect next? And then once they join, what happens?
So when you join the wait list, a couple things happens. Number one, you're going to start getting the emails, basically like when we're going to launch. We also provide a lot of game in the emails, right? We give a lot of free games. So like some of our masterclass Mondays, we actually would drop in the email list.
Just for being on the wait list.
Just for being on the wait list. We give that free game. And in terms of like onboarding, let's say if you were to be able to get on with us as part of that 100, it's really cool. Within the first 48 hours, you're actually going to get a call from one of our liaisons who's going to welcome you into the group, and also kind of get a better sense for who you are, where you're at, and help you basically put out what your mission is, right, in your missions tab. And they're actually going to help connect you with immediate direct support as soon as you get into the group, which is really, really big, as well as direct you to an event within your first 30 days. So you can actually get a feel of what the community is like in person. So, I mean, it's really cool. It's something that my business partner and I have been super excited and building, and we're just really excited to see what the growth looks like, a year, 2 years, even, 3 years from now.
Dope. Well, that's my guy, J Hines, y'all. Make sure y'all check the description. I'm gonna have it in the comments where y'all can follow him, find him, check out the Affluent, check out the Standard, all that.
My man.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, bro.